Hi everyone, guys. Good afternoon. This is Enzo Aita from HyperGuest, and I'm pleased to welcome you to a new episode of Marketplace. This is a series that we organize with HyperGuest just to welcome on board new partners, new integrations. This is the time of the YieldPlanet, and I'm very happy to announce this new integration. So that's the reason we do this live streaming time by time. We also invite speakers joining this session. In this case, it's going to be the CEO of YieldPlanet. But also we have a great speaker and a great guest, Chris from Laris Hotel Group. So let's make a quick roundtable so guys, we can introduce each other. Let's start from you, Claudio.
Yes, hi Enzo. Thank you very much for having us here. So my name is Claudio Limacher. I'm CEO at YieldPlanet since a couple of years now. Joined the company back in 2014. Happy to announce this integration. I mean, our core business is a channel manager, so every integration counts, particularly to marketplaces like HyperGuest, where we have a multiplication factor in it. Maybe personally, very short. I call Barcelona in Spain my home right now. I'm originally from Switzerland. Have spent a couple of years in Warsaw in Poland, where also our headquarters is.
Amazing. Thank you, Claudio. Amit, your turn.
Thank you, Enzo. Hello to all the ones participating. Hello, Chris and Claudio. My name is Amit. I'm one of the partners here and co-founder at HyperGuest. And we are excited to have our offering available to YieldPlanet customer. It's all about actually doing business more effectively with B2B partners. And I'm looking forward to this chat and meeting today.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Amit. And now let's get to know more about Chris. And we want to know more about your hotels group, Chris. Okay, so let's start with your introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Enzo. Nice to join this call today. My name's Chris Barker. I'm the Director of Sales for Laris Hotel Group, located in Krakow, Poland. I'm originally from the UK, and we have approximately 10 to 12 properties here in Krakow, and also one in Prague as well, which I didn't mention before. And these are boutique properties located around the center of the city. So I'm running the sales team and the revenue team here for around 4 or 5 years. Previously, I've got a strong wholesale travel background when I was located over in the UK. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to joining this discussion with Claudio, Amit, and you guys today.
Fantastic. Right, so I'm going to share my screen because we want to know more about your group. Maybe we have some of the audience looking for some hotel in your country. And we may provide I'm sure you're going to provide a great discount for the audience today.
Discounts like never seen before, I think. Yes.
All right. Go ahead, man.
So yeah, so you've got the website here, I see. Yeah.
Here we are. I see all those properties. So very nice. So second, so where are all those hotels located exactly?
Okay, so we've got, I mean, Krakow, if anyone's been to Krakow before, it's basically consists of 2 parts. So we've got the old town area where the main square is, and actually that main image there is looking down towards the main square. And that's kind of like, say, the heart of Krakow, which most people go and see and know. And then we've got the other part of Krakow, which is the Kazimierz district, the old Jewish district, which is, let's say, the new upcoming area where a lot of new hotel builds are going on. So normally when you come to Krakow, you're either in the old town or the Kazimierz, I would say, for the destination. And yeah, I can see you're scrolling through most of the properties we've got here. I mean, in Krakow, the hotels are quite small in general. So you have properties which are consisting of a typical building, 25 to 45 rooms in total. That's a typical size property in Krakow. We don't have a lot of huge, big international global chains, although that is changing as the market develops. But still, it's kind of a little bit quaint. And we specialize in these smaller boutique hotels. That's what we're about. And we're the largest, I would say, independent local hotel chain that exists on the market. And we are asset light, so we don't own any of these buildings, own any of these hotels. We purely manage them, and that gives us the flexibility, let's say, to move around, particularly at these times now in Krakow, where we're seeing a lot of opportunities come our way. and a lot of buildings are becoming vacant, and we're looking to expand at the moment. That's really what our aim is, which maybe seems a bit crazy in these uncertain times, but that is what we're
we need this busy. Positivity. We need this approach, man. We need this approach. I heard so many hotels really, of course, guys, this is, we joke sometimes, but of course it's not a great time. But in a way, guys, the accommodation, the hospitality is coming back strongly than before. So having people and organization like yours with this vision, looking to expand instead of waiting the business coming back, that's a good approach from my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are. It is a difficult time for the whole industry. I mean, hotels as well. And I have to admit, it's been a really challenging time for us as well, financially, business wise, psychologically for everyone as well within the industry. But we're seeing things pop up that we never would have seen previously to the pandemic, and we're trying to optimize those opportunities now. So we do have a few products down the pipeline. I mean, you've got certain products on here that you're seeing which are live today or being managed by Laris, but we have 2 or 3 larger products already signed and ready to move towards the end of the year. So it's quite possible we will have into 2022 another 3 for sure, but possibly 5 more properties coming on board, which is exciting, and it keeps us busy in these, let's say, quieter times.
It looks very nice, hotels. Is your type of customer a mix of business, leisure, bleisure? People start to call that bleisure, so it's a mix of.
I don't know. I haven't heard that bleisure before, but that's an interesting one. But yeah,
I'm a bleisure one. I'm a bleisure one. I'm a kind of guys that travel for business, and when it's possible, I take the advantage of being in a place, extend my stay for 1-2 more days, maybe the weekend, and enjoying the destination. So that's the bleisure one. Traveling for business and turn this into a leisure moment also, right?
I think we have had the kind of leisure clients coming through our doors. Although I would say, predominantly Krakow is a leisure destination. We have increased some business over the years since we had a large congress center that's opened, and there are a lot of international companies set up in Krakow. Krakow is like an outsourcing capital of Europe, you could say. So there is business coming in, but I would say predominantly it's leisure. And for us, being boutique hotels, we're not, a large global chain hotel with mass conference rooms. We're really focused on leisure. The hotels are centrally located, so that's what we're focused on, and that's what's
important. How important are the picture? I'm watching your picture. Are very, very professional. I mean, the product is great. It's nice looking. But if you don't have a good picture, you can't show in a proper way the value of your hotel. So congrats. You did a very great stuff in this picture, guys. Let me ask you a quick question. I know we've been in touch a couple of days back talking about the collaboration with HyperGuest. Mm-hmm. Tell me just one reason why you think it's interesting working with HyperGuest. Why did you accept to jump in our marketplace with properties?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying briefly to Amit before, so my background is wholesale. I've worked for wholesalers for a lot of my years in my career in travel. And I always, used to think, coming into the position of a sales director working on the hotel side now and thinking there are so many agents out there that want to work with us, but we choose to, they're buying through wholesalers, the big wholesalers, basically. We know who they are, the likes of Hotel Beds and so on. And HyperGuest is kind of offering a solution which offers that easy direct connectivity. So that was kind of interesting for me. And it's questioning how it's going to change the whole wholesale environment moving forward, and how hotels will work with partners moving forward. So that's why, I'm interested in engaging in this conversation, actually.
Fantastic. Right. So thanks for telling us a little bit more about your group. And I know, Claudio, you have prepared some slides. So let me explain quickly the audience how it's going to run this episode. It's going to be about 50 minutes now. This first part, we are going to share some interesting stats prepared by Claudio, and those data are coming directly from YieldPlanet. I think those data, it's a kind of aggregation from all your clients across Europe. So we will look at some interesting insight from some destination around Europe. And then we will move to a product pitch presentation. So we will tell you a little bit more about some latest update in HyperGuest, and then going back again to Claudio, who is going to show us something really interesting about the product YieldPlanet. So at this point, Claudio, I'll leave the words to you. You can start to share your slide and start your presentation.
Yeah, and so thank you very much. So yeah, we'll share some data that comes out of the YieldPlanet Channel Manager predominantly, and we've done that already at the beginning of the pandemic, and we've updated them all the way through. So let me just put that into full screen mode, so you'll see that a bit better.
Can you remove also the little bar below? Hide the bar.
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Thank you.
All right, your time, man.
So basically, what we are looking at here is the reservation data that we have gathered since the beginning of the pandemic, or this is actually since the beginning of 2020. It's this graph here shows all reservations that all of our properties have processed, both new reservations coming in as well as cancellations that are processed. The bottom graph here shows the change in each week. So a negative change means we have way more cancellation than what we have reservations in that particular week. So not surprisingly, in this week, in the last weeks of March and in the first week of April, what we see is a massive amount of reservations processed, cancellations processed, up to the point where we in our channel manager had almost no reservations left in that period of time. What we then also see is the summer period of 2020, and since then the kind of flat, not so much growing part that goes on since basically last summer, September 2020, with some very interesting bumps in here, which I'm going to show a bit more when I'm focusing on the individual markets. What I'd like to focus on is these kind of heat maps that we've prepared. They're a bit hard to read at the beginning, but once you get a knack on it, I think they're very, very interesting. So what we show here is again, we're counting reservations, and on one axis we show when that booking was made, in which week, and on the other axis we see for which week that reservation was made. So this little dot here at the beginning, those are reservations that were made in week 5 of 2020 for week 5 of 2020. So reservations up to 5 days ahead. The first thing we see up here is that what is marked here in this green box is is the pre-pandemic time. How does should look like, where you have a lot of reservations made basically for the next couple of days, but you have a healthy number of reservations going out for the next couple of weeks and months, until it then fizzles out to the future, where there are only fewer reservations. The next part we can see here is this hard lockdown that we've had at the very beginning of the pandemic, when there were almost no reservations made, and there were still some reservations that were made, but most of them were a very short time. Nobody was booking hotels 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance, because nobody was allowed to travel. And then the next section that we can show here is how the summer season in 2020 looked like. So at some point in time, around week 16, 17, people were allowed to travel again, and they booked the summer holidays, but they only booked the summer holidays. So the booking window kind of stopped here. This is week 39, 35 is the end of August. So this is exactly where this ends. So this is kind of how to read these graphs. And interesting for me to see is that there's a very kind of clear line almost that starts on week 1 in 2021, when people started to book summer holidays. Few of them, fewer reservations, but they did start to book summer holidays, and I think that's the positive thing. It doesn't really pick up as fast as we go further down on the booked on weeks. Like week 16 is a couple of weeks back. That's when the data's from. This is this line. So ideally, we should see much more reservations coming in on this week, and more as we are coming closer to summer holidays. We hope that once we have more clarity on restrictions for the summer holidays, this will grow darker red as we move along. Now, this obviously looks very, very different for different destinations. This one was the slide for all our properties, which is predominantly Europe-based. We have some Asian and some North American, South American properties, but it's the biggest number is in Europe. If we're just looking at the Spanish market, we see a very clear summer holiday spot in the 2020 summer, and we see not so healthy, because it should be more reservations coming in for the summer holidays, and you can clearly see here the Semana Santa over Easter peak. This is a very important week of holidays in Spain. This normally would be dark red or like this dark brown color, but you can see that this over this period bookings were made. They were made very short term, but there were some bookings made for this period.
Confirm, Claudio. I see traction coming here in Spain. Of course, mainly in summer destinations like Balearic, also in Barcelona, Canary Islands. So of course, actually Spain, I was reading an interesting report. I think it's the third country in the world most researched for vacation this summer. So I totally agree with you. Those data are reflecting in effect what is going on here. As you know, guys, I'm based in Barcelona. I'm an Italian, but live in Barcelona. So I'm following more this market right now. So that's a great data.
So if we're looking at the same kind of map for Polish hotels, it looks quite different. So we don't have the Semana Santa peak. But what we do see is a quite harsh lockdown that was imposed over the end of the year and the first couple of weeks of the year. But also what I find very interesting is the rebound right after this restrictions were lifted. Chris, I hope you remember that part when hotels were allowed to reopen. We had quite a number of even overbookings, unfortunately, or hotels that were booked out within minutes or hours when the government released the restrictions. So we can see this at this like dark brown part here. It's obviously not true for all hotels, but these are things we can see in these heat maps quite well. What we don't see in a destination like Poland is a lot of reservations for the summer holidays. And if I'm drilling down one more level, now I'm looking at the heat map for Warsaw. That's a business destination, and there's no reservations for summer, which is quite typical. But you would have normally a lot more reservations on the short term, or you would have more reservations for business travel, which is currently in the peak season for business travel in Warsaw, and we hardly have any reservations coming in. And the last one that I wanted to show you is the heat map for Krakow, which, as we've learned before, is where all the Laris Group hotels, or except one, hotels are. So what compared to Warsaw, we see in 2020, there was quite a lot of things going on in the summer months over 2020, but we don't really see that many reservations coming in for the summer season of 2020 yet. So Chris, is that also reflecting your feeling of the market at the moment?
Yeah, for summer 2021, I mean, we're seeing when the lockdown is eased, we see a surge of last-minute reservations, which come in domestic markets, because international market is pretty much shut out currently. But then we've got a missing window of this 30-day to, let's say, 90, 120-day prior to arrival. This is missing completely. People are not certain enough to travel, And then we get some reservations coming, but really, really far ahead. So we could be talking about autumn, winter 2022, a lot of reservations. Well, I say a lot, a handful, but there's nothing at all 30 to 120 days.
Yeah, and I think this is what we see here, that in January 2020, that there was quite a lot of reservations spread out over weeks, like 60, 90 days in advance. And currently we don't have that at all. So that's certainly for a leisure destination. I think a healthy mix of reservations is always spread over a longer period of time. And that is certainly something that is missing at the moment. And also for domestic, like I think you said that, or Enzo said that in one of our discussions before, that Krakow cannot just live on only domestic travelers. The international travelers are needed, and we don't have them yet.
Absolutely. I mean, the hotels here, the investments of the hotels here are all based on the fact, the rates that are paid by many of the Western clients that come in, from UK market. They're paying a very much higher average rate, staying in a 4-star, 5-star. It's not sustainable. We need the international market to return for there to be a credible future for Krakow tourism. So we do hope that is going to come back at some point in the summer once the vaccinations have rolled out in Poland, let's say.
Yeah, I think we all hope for that, and we all count on that, particularly in the leisure segment. So, like, Amit, I wanted to ask you one thing on, like, when you're looking at this like heat map of Warsaw, or more in general. I think many business destinations look at the moment like this. Like, what do you think when business travel will come back into a kind of world as it was in pre-pandemic time?
Yeah, I think that initially the thinking was that business travel will be late to come back. But if you look at how the situation evolved, where you have in Spain, for example, the night curfew, limitation on visiting of churches and restaurants and so on, it's actually affecting leisure perhaps more than a business travel. If you are planning to go to Barcelona or to Krakow, and you know that you want to have the city alive around you, it's part of your experience, and if you don't have that certainty of when that's going to change, I think we can start to be optimistic that it is going to change. We see that vaccination programs are working in different parts of the world, but it's just hard right now. And I think that will change very quickly. But right now, at this point in time, it's hard to predict when that will change. And therefore, it's much harder to plan this leisure vacation. Whereas for the business, on the one hand, people get used to Zooming, but Zoom is not going to replace. I think people will go back to their habits or their needs. People need to be together when they are working. People need to be together when they're doing business. And in fact, now when you look at things like curfew and so on, I actually think that business is going to be very important in this recovery.
Yeah, I think.
And another point, I don't know if you're going to show data on ADR, but I think that's an interesting aspect. Yeah, that's an interesting aspect of how this shift to domestic is affecting. If you look at Spain again, I think the domestic market is much more price sensitive than, and especially for the for the boutiques and the luxury resort accommodation. So we see that even in alternative accommodation, people go into Airbnb and start to negotiate if they are domestic. So the property managers there are waiting for the overseas guests to come and be less price sensitive. So the fact that you have a booking, not all bookings are created equal, and that's another factor that's playing. And I'm curious, Chris. I mean, are there certain issues or techniques that you use in order to address these concerns of being able to plan in advance, or being able to have more level of flexibility, or it's just anything that you've seen that works, or what are your thoughts on that?
Being flexible on repeat again the question there, Amit. Sorry, you were asking.
No, to the extent if you are trying to connect to your travelers and you see that they have a hard time quite naturally to book in advance, is there some offering that you're giving them, some incentives to go ahead and plan things?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the price point. The price points are already at the record low, so I don't think pricing really makes any difference to kind of encourage people to come now. In terms of maybe cancellation conditions, these were looked at when the pandemic started, and we were focused on trying to push the standard cancellation rate plans, for example. No one's booking any non-refundable really from what we see anymore. No one wants to commit to non-refundable reservations. So having flexible conditions we implemented pretty much straight away so that people feel sure that they can cancel last minute if necessary. But to be honest, a lot of the things are out of our control when we have like a compulsory lockdown and we have orders from the government to close down. For the immediate last minute guests, there's nothing really we can do on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I pull up the slide again, Claudio.
Yeah, no, that was actually this from that side, as Amit said. I mean, this is I feel that the heat maps are complex enough already with just counting reservations. If we throw in ADRs or even RevPAR in here as well, it would be very, very complicated at the end of the day. So this is one picture, obviously only, but you're absolutely right. The pressure on prices, the pressure on offers, and also the pressure on just rate plans, on booking conditions are changing a lot depending on the source market that you have. And I think there's, here we're seeing how different, for example, a country looks to a certain market, which is quite different. And each hotel in that market again is very different. There are properties in Warsaw that do well because they were always focusing on the domestic markets. Then there are properties that are doing less well or more in troubles because they were focusing really on the international travelers. So I think that in general, these times put a lot of pressure on hoteliers to just be very, very flexible and be able to have different strategies that are possible and make quote unquote the best out of the situation. And I think be like flexibility and having the opportunity to change your strategy fast is very, very important. And yeah, that's a point that we'll pick up again once we're talking about the channel management and revenue management system, because I think they're quite essential for doing exactly that.
Great.
Claudio, it's also encouraging to see the quick response of the customers, of the guests when the things are opening up. There is a hunger for travel, and the vaccination programs will come. I mean, right now it might look too slow, too problematic here and there, but from a point of view, I'm here in Israel, in Tel Aviv. When it just started, it felt like it was too slow. You had to be 60 years old. You had to be 55. You had to be sick. Everybody all of a sudden looking to be more sick than they appear to be. But in the end, it actually expedites and it rolls out. Different countries at different stages, but probably sooner than what we expect. These programs will have an impact, and they're successful. I mean, here in Tel Aviv specifically, the things are open. Many hotels all the hotels are open. There's some beautiful ones in 90% capacity occupancy. So, and that happened over a weekend. I mean, exactly as you said, occurred in Poland, and so we have to be ready. We have to be ready for that change.
Guys, I'm ready to travel as soon as possible. I have my finger, ready to click and book the flight. I can't wait, guys, really. Right. So let's move on now and get to know more about HyperGuest and YieldPlanet. I know you prepared some slide, Amit. I'm getting a lot of people asking about HyperGuest, what is going to be like, what is the concept. So now is the moment to follow this pitch from Amit and let's get to know more about HyperGuest. So feel free, Chris, to make hard question to Amit during his presentation. And anything from the audience, guys, really, if you are interested to to ask questions to the speakers, just put them on the space in LinkedIn in the comments, and I will pull up your question up in front of the screen and turn them to the speakers. Right. So here we are. You have your slide up now.
Thanks, Enzo. So, yeah, we're HyperGuest, one of the partners here, and we come from over 10 years of experience helping sell hotel rooms. From a previous experience has been actually in the wholesale space. In that capacity, we said, okay, these wholesalers, they are all channels. We are all managing distribution across channels, but we want to build an open channel that's purely about technology, not based on necessarily on middlemen, and have that impact on the commissions and the reliability of the booking. And part of our expertise, like working with market leaders like YieldPlanet to make this very easily available and pluggable for the hotels. But where does it actually fit in the whole pictures? So, there are the main, I would say, the three main pillars of hotel distribution. We obviously would love for the guests to come to the website and book directly. We obviously work with the global OTAs. They're very good at what they do, also very expensive and powerful. And then we have the travel providers, with the mid-market. These are those agencies that Chris referred to. These are niche OTA, specialist OTA, closed user group, corporate travel, and so on and so forth. So far, the main way for them to go to market has been through resellers, where in fact, in between the hotel and the travel provider, there's not one, but oftentimes three or more bed banks or wholesalers. Each one is buying from the other and selling it onwards. When we would ask the travel providers, would you like to buy direct? They would say, of course we would buy. We asked the hotel, yes, would you like to buy direct? They would say, of course. But there was something missing. There's something missing, and that's where we come in, where we actually connect to YieldPlanet like a channel, another channel on YieldPlanet. We connect to the system of travel providers, just like another, for them it's a supply channel, but what happens in between is very different. It is a direct booking. So now, so far we used to think about direct as direct is on the website. Now actually direct is actually direct to B2B made possible. What does that mean? First of all, we are opening the property for this demand access. For end-to-end, the entire transaction is going against the real inventory and the systems of the hotel. So the agents, these OTAs, they are getting the dynamic rate. They are also getting your quality static data. And Enzo touched on that, how essential that is in order to make a sale. If you are buying from a wholesaler, in most cases, you cannot get a picture of the room. And when we speak to the agent, they tell me the customers, he wants to see a picture of the room, and then they go and they convert on Expedia, and the hotel has to pay the Expedia expensive fee just because of that. So excellent system for managing with no effort. Direct booking straight into YieldPlanet, not booking with HyperGuest, and then also facilitation of a payment. So I don't have to deal now with all these small agencies. I have one process. It's very automated, very streamlined in order to handle these transactions. A few of the guiding principles for the hotels. First of all, there is no cost. There is no cost involved for the hotelier. Our business model actually is charging a small transaction fee of 0.7% to the demand generator. And we do not charge any fee, neither setup fee or annual fee or transaction of the hotel. So it's a tool for them for free. But even though it's for free, actually the hotel is the boss. It is in full control. So we are not coming to negotiate with any hotel what is the commission. The hotel is deciding the commission, and they make it in a way that would be attractive for the agents to come and buy, just like in any other marketplace. Okay, if I'm going to sell my phone on an eBay, I will say, this is my product, this is my price, these are my terms, I control. So not only that, in a wholesale situation, I took my rate, I put it on the wholesaler, and I lose control over it. I don't know who's getting it, what they're going to do with it, and so on. Here, actually, I'm in full control of the situation. So the different agencies can make a search for a hotel in Krakow, and they will get a different result, because Chris decided that he has a preference program for the UK, or that he has an individual agency that he give them a very individual rate plan just for them. All this is under full control of the hotelier. So the hotelier is the boss of this. And of course, this covers not just the rates, but also the anything inclusions. You can build a corporate plan with free Wi-Fi and free parking and late cancellation, and only offer that to preferred corporate customer. And you do that just with a few clicks. With no, so all this granularity you get from one channel on YieldPlanet, allowing you to basically work with the segmentation at that level of the B2B partners. The system is very simple. This is not another project. The hoteliers are super busy, especially nowadays. They're understaffed. Some of the team is away and so on. So the onboarding is super quick. We automatically build the structure and obtain all the information and the static data of the hotel from public sources. There is no need now to go and do pre-contracting with agencies. So this is the idea of an open marketplace once again. But if I have an agency or an OTA or a business that is my preferred customer, I can, with a few clicks, give them preferred rate plans, give them preferred discount, give them preferred commission. So it is at the same time a way for direct bilateral relationship B2B, as well as open marketplace sales. And it's a very powerful, technologically very powerful system. It is covering both the dynamic and the static data, and it shows the real situation. When there is a change in YieldPlanet, within a second it is reflected in the next query of the demand side, and the response to the demand side is in milliseconds. When they are searching for your hotels, they right away get results, and they can book directly with you. So how does the information actually flow? We will get the rate and availability from YieldPlanet. We get rich data. We allow you to update and refresh the system with your static data, whether from your website or from the big OTAs automatically. And you also define what are the policies that come with those terms, whether it's restrictions, terms and conditions, commissions, and so on and so forth. Then the demand side, they have their side of the marketplace. They can make a query of, okay, I want to be in Krakow on end of May with 2 adults and so on. Then they also get the static data to come along with that. They see exactly the room. They see those beautiful pictures. They have all the facilities and the amenities, you know exactly what they're getting, and then they can book. The booking goes straight to YieldPlanet and come back. And it actually, the hotelier can see in their system, it's a channel of HyperGuest, but the booking party is this agency in London, and these are the details that come along with that. And it is reported in the agency system as confirmed directly by the hotel's YieldPlanet system. And when I have designated rate, which doesn't have to be, that could be the exception case of the open marketplace, but if I have a bilateral agreement, I deploy it in a few clicks. I can generate a virtual rate plan and just provide it to one partner or to 10 partners or to a category. So there's a whole load of technology behind this. It comes from a very strong technological team and all their experience over 10 years of connectivity, of sales, of making sure that all the content is available where you need it. There's never going to be any caching. They're always going to be looking at your real-time inventory, so much less booking failures. And when there's an issue, you are working directly with the agent for all the operational aspect. You know exactly who the agent is, and you can work together if there is an issue to resolve that. So that's it. In summary, how it works. HyperGuest is no added middleman. So you transact directly with the source of the supply. There is no must for pre-contracting. Just put on your inventory and start selling. We support both prepaid net reservations as well as pay at the hotel commissionable reservations. Commission payment is electronic and it's streamlined, just like you're used to working, let's say, with the large OTAs. You're working now with the agencies. And it's not just about dynamic. The rich static content is up to date. If you now updated your pictures, you push one button and you refresh automatically the rich content inside of HyperGuest, and it's immediately available for those B2B partners. And there's absolutely no cost. So no cost, no effort of work, and no need to change anything except just add a channel into your YieldPlanet system. That's it. This is HyperGuest. We'd love to, of course, welcome you to our website. Sign up to us. We will put the link in the LinkedIn post as well as on the website. Let's meet and do a demo and see how this can work for your hotel.
Amazing. Chris,
I mean, can I just ask a question on that? Because you mentioned about it's cost free for the hotels, but if I understand how it works, is that the agent uploads a card, or it's a HyperGuest credit card, maybe for the payment for the hotel. Is that how it works? It's a HyperGuest card which the hotel charges?
Actually, the hotel receives the charge of the travel agent, and they can charge it to the cancellation back deadline.
Okay, so it's the agent's card, yes?
Yeah,
that is chargeable. Okay, because I know that we had, for example, some situations when the cards are charged. There are quite high fees on the credit cards on these virtual cards sometimes, and they can sometimes range from anything from 2 to 4%, depending on the location of the card or the type of the card. So I would say probably there are some charges to consider, but not from HyperGuest. That's what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what's your feeling about, you know, the agents, in these smaller agents signing up? Do you see that there's an incentive for them to sign up to get connected on to HyperGuest and move away from the big wholesalers?
Yeah, well, first of all, they don't have to move away. Okay, an agency typically has a system that consolidates supply source, and let's say they will get your hotel from hotel beds as well as HyperGuest, and the hotel across the street they're only getting through hotel beds. Mm-hmm. You have assigned a lower commission. They're getting a much higher commission than they normally would because there's no middleman, right? If you're today the reseller, the wholesaler is one of the most expensive channels in your repertoire, but much of that margin gets eaten up by middlemen, and in this case the entire margin goes to the agent. So actually, naturally, this will come to the top of their system. You will be in a stronger competitive situation relative to other hotels that are working through wholesalers. And when you talk to the demand generator, this is a very strong demand for them, because they are getting at the other end of a wholesale chain, they are getting a price that's very tough for them to compete with. They add their margin, and they're now, in many cases, priced out of the market. And the result is that they are able to attach just 20% of accommodation. So out of every 100 passengers that they sell with an airline ticket, they would sell just 20 hotel rooms, because of the ecosystem. When they try to add their margin, they're not competitive. When they try to get pictures, they don't have them. They are just missing that on that opportunity, and they are very hungry to be able to service you. So they could be a great partner to hotels because they expect much lower commission than the large channels. They already have the trust of the guest. They are already working with the guest. They just don't have the right access, and so that's actually very well received. In fact, that was the birth of this idea. Actually, was working with hotels, but also with agents and their pains in that regard, being unable to capitalize on what is for them is a very good opportunity.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know from contracting times for wholesale that certainly with the big wholesalers, we were, there were possibilities of 30% margin, sometimes even 40% margin when contracting for a wholesaler with hotels. And where that margin was going was being shared down the line. But do you think that a lot of these big wholesalers are sharing a big amount of that margin with the agent, as in incentivizing them with kickbacks or certain commission agreements to produce and stay with their wholesale producers? Do you think there's a lot of that?
It used to be. I think there's less. That market has changed, and we know that market quite well. At the end of the day, it's about having the data and having the direct access as a big premium on that. So yeah, in some cases they will have relationship that they need to fulfill, but that's often going to be also with bigger chains. And what we're finding is that they're having a hard time to contract with the boutique chains. That's much more, and that's actually an area of inventory that we push forward, is quality chains as a way to contract with them directly. And again, from conversation with the demand side, they sense that much of the margin gets eaten up by wholesaler, because again, it's not just one wholesaler. We need to feed quite a few of them along the way in the chain. But it's not an either or. Again, for them, it is just another source. But for the hotelier, it's an opportunity to just be one step ahead. Another aspect is, of course, the operational aspect, where you want to speak to address some issues with the hotel. You want to ask questions, and you now have to go through a support bureau after support bureau, and as that question travels through that wholesale chain. Whereas here, you actually are working directly with the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And if I understand you let's say HyperGuest are there to assist these agents to get connected to the HyperGuest system. Yeah, it's not just on the agent to do the technical work themselves. You're supporting them in that process. Yeah.
Absolutely, and just like partners like YieldPlanet are, the right way to plug into your inventory. There are systems like that on the agent side, and for them, we can. We would emulate the Expedia API, we would emulate the Hotel Beds API, or we have our own API, and just make it very easy to plug in those systems and just mix into the environment. But the hotels that are coming from HyperGuest are always going to be with the best margin for the agency, the best prices at the end of the day.
And if I can just get one more question in, sorry, from a hotelier point of view, because I'm quite interested in how it's all working. Channel manager connections, how many channel manager connections do you currently have at the moment with HyperGuest?
We have over 50.
Okay.
And growing very fast.
Okay. And in the UK market, there's a big presence there at the moment.
Yes.
Of channel managers and okay, great.
Yeah.
Super.
Cool.
Well,
Thank
we're
you.
very excited to work with YieldPlanet, of course.
Actually, now it's the turn of Claudio. And before you start, Claudio, showing something about YieldPlanet, all the YieldPlanet customer watching right now, how they can get to know more about HyperGuest, the best way, apart get in touch with me, maybe they can get in touch mainly through your support, Claudio. How can do that?
Correct. Yes. Like since we're a channel manager, all the channels that are available to our customers can actually be found in Channel Manager itself. So customers can log in, look for the HyperGuest tile. There's a short information piece, and also a way to connect is already written there. If there should be any problem, any help needed, the best thing is to reach out to our customer support and ask for the HyperGuest connectivity, and the support team will certainly help them to connect to HyperGuest and make use of these opportunities that Amit just laid out very nicely.
Cool. Right. So you can share your screen again, Claudio.
Yes, let me do that.
I'm very curious to know more about YieldPlanet now.
Gladly doing that.
Right.
Let me hide this thing once again. Yes, so maybe just very quickly, like YieldPlanet is a specialized hotel technology provider. We are offering distribution and revenue management solutions. We have offices in Barcelona, Lucerne, and Warsaw, and from here we are serving more than 4,500 clients in over 80 countries. Clients for us is hotels, typical hotels, apart hotels, but also short-term rentals, vacation rentals, and also urban spaces. It is a quite important and growing segment for us and our clients as well. Let me put the next slide up here. So from a channel manager point of view, what it does, and I think Amit already explained that quite well, is a channel manager connects a hotel, or better even so, the property management system, the PMS of a hotel, with the various channels that we have in the market. It synchronizes two different information flows. On one hand, we have the prices and availability that are set up in the PMS, in the property management system, synchronize that with the channel manager, which are then forwardly synchronized with the different channels. And yes, I did update that logo with HyperGuest just before that show, so that we see that here as well. The second information flow is that we are taking all the reservations from these different channels, processing them, and write them into the PMS, which enables in the PMS to do a lot of automation on the reservation, put them in the right portfolio, make sure that they are categorized the right way, and so that the hotel can seamlessly work with them. For example, we also with every PCI compliant partner in this ecosystem, we also take the credit card information into the PMS so that everything is stored there nicely. For YieldPlanet, you have when you're working with the YieldPlanet channel manager, you have the choice to connect to over 250 OTA channels. Also, we give you the opportunity to work with the booking engine that really fits your needs. We have over 60 integrated booking engines. And within the online channels, you also have a selection of GDS providers that you can work with, wholesalers, tour operators, and as we said, also HyperGuest right now, which allows you to connect to even more demand generators that are looking for demand within the HyperGuest area. And on the other end, we have over 100 integrated PMSs that allows to automate this flow from both prices and availability and the reservation flow. Our channel manager is both. Our channel manager is fast, it is reliable, and we're very proud of that. It is a very flexible solution that allows to accommodate to whatever sales strategy or distribution strategy that the hotel or vacation rental property wants to implement. For those hotels that want to go further, particularly with dynamic pricing or with yield and revenue management or automation, we also offer Price Optimizer. Price Optimizer combines a revenue and the channel management, or a revenue and the distribution solution, into one end-to-end process that does everything around pricing, selling, and distribution. In our ecosystem, the property management system is really at the center of operations in the hotel, versus the Price Optimizer and channel manager combination, which is at the front and center for selling both through offline channels, for making the right pricing decisions, for selling through online channels. So everything around prices, availability, and restrictions and distributions and channel mix, that is taken within the Price Optimizer, fully automated according to the best information we have from the market, from also our partners that put in external data sources. Now, obviously, that is more than just prices that are optimized. Since it is an end-to-end solution, we're really talking a lot also about inventory and restriction controls. That means if you're working with Price Optimizer and you're selling very well in a certain area for single rooms, the Price Optimizer will automatically fill up the single rooms that are sold out with double rooms at the double room price, because for whatever reason that is selling better. We also have automatic restriction control. So, for example, if a certain date or a certain date range is working very, very well, there is a length of stay restriction applied before the prices just go higher and higher and higher. Because from a revenue management point of view, there's a chance to make much more money by focusing on longer stays, 3 stays, 4-night stays, than just hiking the prices for that one day that is working very well. We do work quite a lot with hotels that are around fair sites. At the time when fairs and shows are going on again, this is a very important measure for them to make sure that they're maximizing the revenue, because everybody wants to come for just when the fair is. But if you're restricting this well enough so that you have those people as well that stay 2 days before, 2 days after, you're making in the sum much more money. Also, if you're offering, to what Enzo said before, those business travelers that are willing to stay the weekend, that is a better client at the end of the day for a hotel that is focused on business, because it helps them to fill those shoulder days that are typically not seeing that high of a demand. We do that, and we do that fully automated, and we have a set of strategies and set of rule sets that can be put into the system that lets you switch between those strategies very, very simply. The next pillar that we do beyond pricing is distribution automation. So you can set up the system that it takes whatever input we have, for example, demand, in order to automatically offer or not offer certain rate plans that you have. For example, imagine that your weekend special is automatically opened or closed on all the channels, depending on how well the demand forecast for these weekends are. So if you have a weekend that is very well booked, or has a well forecast even, we close the weekend special. For those weekends that are not that well booked, that weekend special is open. And this we do throughout the different rate plans. And you can invent a lot more complicated strategies to do that, and you can automate all of this. We also have possibilities to work with groups and allotments. But for many hotels in the leisure segment, that's very important to make sure that the pricing strategy properly reflects their groups, so that if a hotel has many allotments or many groups already booked in the hotel, should that reflect on the leisure market price? Maybe only partially, because it doesn't. Just because you have a lot of group bookings doesn't mean that the price is correct in the market. But it also means that if you have a lot of group bookings, you have a smaller inventory to sell through the online channels. So these different strategies can be set up in the system. We also can make sure that wash factors on allotments are taken into account in order to sell the right amount of rooms in the different channels and price accordingly. And last but not least, since we are a combination between channel management, distribution, and revenue management, we have full channel control. So if you have more than 10 days to go, less than a couple of rooms, less than 5 rooms to sell, we can close those more expensive channels like Booking.com and Expedia or the OTAs, and only leave open those channels, the direct channels. And yes, HyperGuest could be one of those channels that is open for the last room, because it offers a very interesting commission option for the hotelier. Typically here, it's the booking engine or the direct channel that is left open the longest. And again, fully automatically. If one day before arrival you still have rooms left to sell, we open them up on Booking.com automatically and make sure that the last room is really sold. So you see, there's a lot of things going on beyond just prices. Prices, by the way, are fully automatically, dynamically priced based on demand forecast, based on the books data, and based on forward-looking data from the market. So this is something that we do, I would say, like many other revenue management systems as well, whereas these things definitely go beyond that. In sum, the revenue management system or the price optimizer is a unique combination of an RMS and a channel manager. It has really unprecedented flexibility of how you can sell in the market, and it is fully automated end-to-end process that allows you to set this up, have one control overview, and really have the system work for you. So if you want to know more both about the channel manager or the revenue management system, please reach out to me directly, or there's also a book demo now button on YieldPlanet.com. So that's certainly a great way to reach out if you want to know more.
That's great. Cool. Thank you, Claudio. How important is, guys, and I just opened this question to all of you, to have an RMS fully integrated with a channel manager? That's great. I mean, I've seen so many hotels, revenue manager getting struggle in this situation where they have an RMS and they have a different channel manager from a different provider, and they are trying to map and combine this integration, which is very hard in a technical way for two companies talk each other, creating this integration, make the mapping. So having one tool that offer price optimizer and distribution, that's great. That's great. I really encourage you guys to watch this product, book the demo with Claudio, go to YieldPlanet.com website, book your demo. That's really nice one. Right, cool, guys. Any question, Chris, for Claudio?
No, I just want to, just what you were mentioning there, Enzo, is so true because, we're a small, medium-sized business and, we don't have all the resources of building our own revenue management system, for example. And for many, many years, we wanted to implement it after we hired full-time revenue managers as part of our organization, and we were always looking for solutions to revenue manage because automated pricing is, we see the benefits from it, but the business, it's, let's say, PMSs, channel managers, it's so fragmented to actually get something that it can integrate with this and integrate with that. It's so complex, and I think most people give up halfway through the process of trying to find it. So we actually decided to give it a go with Price Optimizer for one of our properties, which we started testing about 6 months before the pandemic. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to fully kind of test it out quite yet because the sales aren't really actively going on, but we are still looking into the system. And from what we see, the early days, there were benefits there. We were automating pricing in the middle of the night when bookings were being made, and that wasn't being done manually by a revenue manager prior. So I think that we will move forward with this kind of integration further when things recover. I was going to ask Claudio a question though, with the rate kind of intelligence. There used to be a tool in Booking.com called Rate Intelligence, which most of the independent hotels out there were using to analyze the market. And I know you've got something in this Price Optimizer, which is a solution for some hotels. Is there something you want to share about that? Is there any developments on that?
So you're referring to competition pricing analysis, which is obviously, like, it's not, I wouldn't say it's the most important input to pricing, but it's certainly a very important input to pricing. We do integrate pricing or competition pricing information from our partners HQ Plus and Lotto Insight. So if you have any one of these tools, we integrate this data, we show it in the data, but most importantly, we allow you to set certain boundary rules on these prices, and we do this very granularly to say that I don't want to have my rooms lower, like my specific double room lower than the double room of my comp set, but really those specific double rooms of my comp set. So this is one thing we do, and we also look at that. We incorporate the data into the demand forecast because competition pricing information is a great forward-looking data, particularly on the dynamics point of view. Like, are prices changing tomorrow or in 3 weeks from your competition? Is again, it's not that the pricing strategy is you always have to follow your competition, but it is an input that you shouldn't miss. So we're doing both of that.
Okay, great.
Cool. Right, guys. So we got to the end. I want to thank you again. This is crazy. I know that this integration will bring a lot of opportunity now between HyperGuest and YieldPlanet. So guys, feel free to get in touch with HyperGuest, Amit, me, or with YieldPlanet, Claudio, support. Just get there, guys, because we can help to bring more business directly with a lower commission model. And that's that. So thank you, guys. Have a nice day. And I'll see you next episode of The Marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Enzo. Thank you, Amit. And particularly thank you, Chris, for joining us here.
Thanks very much for inviting.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. The view of the hotel here in this. Fantastic.
Ciao, bye, guys.
Bye. Cheers.